For the last 25 years, at Easter, families have come from far and wide to enjoy the antics of Thomas and his friends. This year, of course, Thomas is resting in the shed, waiting for his next opportunity to come out and entertain the public. And don't worry, the troublesome trucks are safely tucked away in the sidings. There are many other events, of course, entertaining and educating people on the history of Hampshire's railways and the effect the railways had on people. But it wasn't always like this. No railway ever is. So let's go back to the very beginning, to the start of the railway we now know as the Watercress Line.
As far back as the 1850s, there were thoughts of building a railway in the countryside around Alton and Alresford. By the time the Alton, Alresford and Winchester Railway Company Act passed on the 28th of June 1861, the railway mania of the 1840s was over, and the promoters had to borrow the money to build the line because there were not enough investors wanting to buy the shares offered. One of the notable early shareholders of the company was Edward Knight, who was the nephew of Jane Austen. The name of the railway changed to the Midhants Railway Company whilst the line was being constructed. The line was completed and opened on October 2nd, 1865. The Midhants Railway Company came to an agreement with the London and South Western Railway to operate services over it, providing the staff and rolling stock. The transport of watercress earned the line the nickname the Watercress Line, by which we still know it today. Alresford had been the main source of watercress in the south of England for a century, and growers brought their watercress to the station for conveyance. Alresford watercress could reach Nottingham in 7 hours after leaving Alresford, but was mainly sent to London, where it was sold at Covent Garden. The need to keep costs down meant that the railway has relatively steep gradients. These reach a summit near the station of Medstead and Four Marks. With a steep climb in both directions, it is no wonder the crews talked about going over the Alps. Even today this presents a challenge, especially in poor weather. And when the railway was being used for heavy holiday trains and troop trains during both World Wars, many trains had to have 2 engines on the front. Whilst freight traffic dwindled, the introduction of diesel trains in the 1950s increased passenger numbers. This saw the eventual removal of freight from the railway and the gradual closure of the stations. The railway was identified by the Beeching Report for closure, but escaped immediate closure due to its usefulness as a diversionary route while the London to Bournemouth line was being electrified. However, the Department of Transport made it a condition of allowing BR to electrify the line to Bournemouth that the Watercress Line would be closed. The final British Rail passenger train ran on the 3rd of February 1973 after a long fight. The closure of the line drew much opposition from locals and Winchester Council. A group of early preservationists looked to save the line and provide a heritage steam service at weekends with a weekday diesel service between Alton and Winchester. This led to the railway being saved, but the early preservationists could only raise enough funds to purchase a track bed between Alresford and Alton, and the track itself between Alresford and Ropley. The rest of the line was ripped up by British Rails. This was the end of the opportunity to provide a commuter service, but the beginning of the railway as we know it today. The railway reopened as a heritage railway on the 30th of April 1977.
And that leaves us with the railway that we know and love today. And while we can't physically extend the track, we are by no means done. In the background there are projects going on all around the railway. At Ropley we have a fleet of coaches being restored to a better than new condition. Head to the other side of the yard. You'll see our locomotives and where they're restored and maintained. A job that never ends. The railway really wouldn't be where it is today without the help and support of many, many people over the years. If you would like to help and support Hampshire's Steam Railway, then visit preservation.watercressline.co.uk/support.